gather here to come together to raise our voices in harmony. We gather here to pray together to create the world we know is meant to be. We gather here, we gather here, we gather here, we gather here to create the world we know is meant to be. We gather here to come together to celebrate the love and joy of unity. We gather here for deep connection with fellow travelers who claim divinity. We gather here to count our blessings, to celebrate the love and joy of unity. We gather here, we gather here, we gather here, we gather here to create the world we know is meant to be. We gather here to come together to celebrate the love and joy of unity, to celebrate the love and joy of unity.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I just had to do something to the camera for the band, and I just made you all dark. So we're going to work on that in a moment. Welcome. Welcome. I know. Welcome to our Sunday morning. Welcome to our Sunday morning celebration service. Welcome to all who are watching on YouTube and Facebook. And we are saying good morning to Nikki and to Mary, and to Lynn and Dennis, good morning. And to Stacy, good morning. Stacy, I hope you feel better soon. And to Bobby, hey Bobby up in Maine, good to see you this morning. And Linda, she's watching in North Carolina. Hi, Linda. That's our board president, Linda Hart. Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad you all are here. I'm so glad you all are here in our sanctuary. As always, we have with us our band, Joyful Noise Band. Oh, look, the light is now working again. All right, great. And that's Don Rao. And we have Jen Hart sitting in, and we have Donna Roselli.
Jen Erickson.
Jen Erickson. Jen Erickson. Jen Hart is our Youth and Family Ministry Director. All right, so there they are. Donna is featured on special music today, singing I Choose Love. I Choose Love. All right, thank you. Okay, so we have PowerPoint working this morning in the room and online, so yay. And if you are a first-timer present in the sanctuary, we invite you, and you feel comfortable, we invite you to raise your hand so we can see you and give you a welcome packet. Anybody here today for the very first time? Yeah, okay, I don't see anybody new, so maybe there's somebody that is new that I'm just not seeing. If you are here for the first time and you would like to pick up a welcome packet, you can do that on the table on the way out. And also for all of you watching on Facebook and YouTube, if it's the very first time you're joining us this morning, I invite you to email admin@unityofstuart.org, and May will be delighted to send you a welcome packet. So welcome, everybody. We are serving coffee and cookies in the kitchen, so please join us on the patio if you'd like, after you get your coffee and cookies. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, we'd like everyone to know that Unity of Stuart is a welcoming, affirming, positive path of spirituality. We leave no one out, so thank you for being the church. We do have some announcements as usual. Okay, I know what I'm doing. There we go. And the first, we did that welcome. So as usual, we like to let everybody know how to get in touch with us and to sign up for the newsletter and to call Silent Unity if you'd like, or email us at prayer@unityofstuart.org, especially for those of you online. And if you are here in the sanctuary, we do have our prayer box out in the foyer. And if you'd like to leave a prayer request or a prayer intention, we invite you to do that there. Our prayer chaplains hold these prayer requests in their hearts and in their prayers for 30 days. And we also send them off to Silent Unity, our home, the mothership, and where they pray over them for 30 days in the 24-hour prayer ministry. So prayer is powerful, so we invite you to let us know. Healing meditation is now on Facebook, and that's on Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. So if anybody here and online, if you'd like to meet up with Cheryl Roby, who is a Reiki master and a spiritual healer, Tuesday mornings live on Facebook at 10 a.m. for a healing meditation. So we invite you into that. And finally, we have our audio and visual fundraiser going on, and we're doing pretty well. I'm not going to reveal a total yet, and we're doing pretty well. And the offer is, the request is, and the invitation is, if you'd like to see our equipment upgraded so that this all goes away, we have a camera in the back, and it makes it a lot more seamless. And then I won't be up here spinning plates. It'll be Jerry in the back spinning plates. So we invite you to go to our webpage, to our donate button, and once you get there, you can drop down and donate audiovisual to the audiovisual fund. And as always, if that could be above your regular giving, we would really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Dedication. Okay, so let's take a deep breath together. And I invite you to settle in right where you are into this sacred space. And I invite you to join me as we dedicate this service to surrendering to the will of Spirit. And our affirmation today is, I transcend myself and my circumstances, for I am Spirit. I transcend myself and my circumstances, for I am Spirit. At times, I may try to change or control a situation through the power of my will or thoughts. But with prayer, I move beyond willpower, beyond thought. With prayer, I am lifted above my problems. As I pray, I release the situation to which I've been giving my attention, and I affirm, I transcend myself and all my circumstances, for I am Spirit. I am a spiritual being having a human experience, and centered in God, I am filled with divine light, divine love, and divine power. I have within me untapped spiritual resources, unused spiritual powers, unexplored realms of being. As I lift my consciousness through prayer, I lay hold of and call into expression spiritual qualities and powers that transcend my human understanding. And let's take a deep breath in as we settle in, and even a little bit more. And I invite us this morning to turn it over, whatever it is. To turn it over right here and right now to the power of the indwelling Spirit, and let God do its work. I transcend myself and my circumstances, for I am Spirit. And so it is. Amen. And let's prepare for meditation as we sing Be Still.
Be still, be quiet. It's the only way. You will hear a voice. the only way.
And we breathe. Let's take those 3 deep, conscious breaths. Dropping our shoulders, releasing any tension that we might be holding in the body. Bringing our attention into our heart space. And setting the intention to be here now, right where our feet are. Wherever your feet are, I invite you to be right there. Settling in, open, receptive, and responsive to the gifts of Spirit this morning. Knowing that Holy Spirit moves in, through, and as us, we are calmed. We are infused with peace, with comfort, and divine love as we enter into prayerful meditation. And we breathe once more, settling in. And as we dive into prayerful meditation, I invite you to allow the words you hear to become the words of your own mind and heart this morning, knowing that the activity of Spirit is alive within you. And sweet Spirit, here I am, undefended. Undefended in the light and love of Spirit, undefended in divine harmony. Undefended in sweet peace. And as I know this, in every cell of my being, I turn over whatever I am carrying, releasing any anxiety, any illness or perceived illness, any challenge, any obstacle. I turn it over to you, the one power, one presence, the infinite divine, the universal one. And I am going to choose one thing this morning. One thing to turn over. And I invite you to bring that one thing into your mind, into your heart this morning. And I invite you to put wings on that thing. However you do that, I invite you to imagine that there is a God up in the sky. I invite you to imagine that releasing this challenge with wings into the infinite beyond. Into the ribbon of love that moves in and around our planet, that intersects with each one, with each body, with each physical being. I invite you to see that ribbon rising up and to see your challenge winging its way, to be melted into divine love, divine wholeness, divine harmony, divine prosperity. And I invite us into another deep breath. And in this moment, I know calm. I know peace. I know serenity. I know freedom. I am peace. I am serenity. I am free. In the quiet. Peace, serenity, freedom. And as we know this for ourselves, I invite us to know it for everyone who is on our prayer list here at Unity of Stuart, and everyone who is in our minds and hearts this morning, any being, any situation. Seeing each one lifted up, seeing each one peaceful, comforted, whole. And if you'd like to speak their names out, I invite you to do that now. All situations, all of our loved ones, all of our prayers into the care and keeping of the one. I invite you to pray this in the name and the nature, in the light and in the love of the indwelling Christ consciousness. And so it is. Amen. I want to, before Donna sings, as they're getting ready, I'd like to say hi to other folks who are on Facebook. Ellen is watching. Sandy is in the sanctuary and also watching. Hey, Cheryl. Cheryl's in Connecticut. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Ricky. Hey, Judy. Judy's in New Mexico. And Terry. Terry is a new name to me, I think. Well, good morning, Terry. Welcome. If you are new, please email May at admin@unityofstuart.org for a welcome packet, and she'll be delighted to send you one. All right.
Ready?
How we doing?
Testing.
All right.
I can see laughter, I can see tears, I see a choice of love or fear. Oh, what do you choose? I can see peace or I can see war, I can see sunshine or I can see a storm. Oh, what do you choose? Now I choose to live with freedom flying from my heart where the light keeps shining, and I choose to feel the whole world crying for the strength that we can rise above. I choose love. I choose love. I can see sharing, or I can see greed. I can see caring, or poverty. Oh, what do you choose? I can see gardens, or I can see floors. I can see life or death coming on strong. Oh, what do you choose? Now I choose to live with freedom flying from my heart where the light keeps shining. And I choose to feel the whole world crying with the strength that we can rise above. I choose love. I choose love. I see us healing, darkness dying. I see us dawning as one world united. Oh, what do you choose? Love or fear? Oh, what do you choose? Now I choose to live with freedom flying from my heart where the light keeps shining. And I choose to feel the whole world crying. Eyes just to hear the one voice rising. Eyes just to see us all united. The strength that we can rise above. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Jen. And Doreen, who's in Ohio, Doreen Pariba, who's usually up on the platform and is away for this month, says hi to everybody. And what else? And Chuck is a little bit under the weather today. And I want to go back because I knew I missed something this morning. So I'm just going to do that and invite us into our affirmation together. I transcend myself and my circumstances, for I am spirit. And let's take a deep breath. And let us believe that, let us know that as deeply as we are able, as we affirm one more time together. I transcend myself and my circumstances, for I am spirit. So, I know I told you in the meditation this morning to release your obstacle. So I don't want you to grab too hard on the obstacle I'm going to ask you to remember right now, or the challenge. And well, you know what? I'm just going to assume that every single body in this room, every single person watching has a challenge. Some challenge. Whether it's large or whether it's small. I'm going to assume that because here we are as human beings on the planet. Right? Right. So here's the important thing to know, that whenever we face obstacles or challenges in our lives, we always have a choice. We can either be stopped or blocked by them. They can stop us in our tracks, or we can say yes to them and use them as stepping stones. Stepping stones to express our inherent, our innate, our divinely implanted greatness. We are expressions of the divine, and when we use life to get closer to the divine, guess what? We win, no matter what challenges we're facing. We are always at choice. I've said this before, it's been a while, so I'm going to say it again. You know, when I was coming up in, baby minister, or learning how to be a minister and how to do what we do. And actually, there's two other Unity ministers in the room this morning. We have Reverend Ron Neff in the house, and we have Reverend Gayla Crum in the house. Two Unity ministers. So you're being triply blessed this morning with minister energy. Yeah. We are always at choice. Oh, so the thing I learned was that every minister, perhaps every spiritual speaker, spiritual teacher, has basically only one message. And the challenge then, it's kind of part of the credo, part of the thing that gives us juice, that gets us going in spirituality. And that the challenge is how to preach on that every Sunday and make it sound different. So my one message, if I had to pick one message, is that we have a choice in every single moment about what we're going to do, about how we respond. A choice in every single moment. We could either go to the light or we could go to the dark. Right? We could either jump into the abyss or we could rise up. Choice in every single moment. So that is our focus for this month. We are using the book called, oh, hello. Let's move along here. The Obstacle is the Way. This is why we need a new system. The Obstacle is the Way. I'm just going to bring that up for those of you online. By Ryan Holiday. So, we're looking at a roadmap that I found in this book about empowerment, about opportunities to grow bigger in God, and how to expand our consciousness as we face the challenges and obstacles of life. So, I hope that you brought a challenge to the table this month, and that you are applying these ideas to the best of your ability. I know I am. So, according to Ryan Holiday, in order to move from what he calls an impediment to empowerment, takes three interdependent and interconnected disciplines. 3 words. We've done this for the past 2 weeks. It's perception, action, and will. Perception, action, and will. We looked at how important a shift in perception is, and there's an illustration in the book that I'm going to share with you. He writes, sports psychologists recently did a study of elite athletes who were struck with some adversity or serious injury. Initially, each reported feeling isolation, emotional disruption, and doubts about their athletic ability. Yet, afterward, each reported gaining a desire to help others, additional perspective, and a realization of their own strengths. In other words, every fear and doubt they felt during the injury turned into greater abilities in those exact areas. Psychologists call it adversarial growth and post-traumatic growth. I'm still going to read his words, but I'm interjecting. This is something my grandmother used to say all the time. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and he says that's not a cliche, but a fact. The struggle against an obstacle inevitably propels the fighter to a new level of functioning. The obstacle is an advantage, not an adversity. And the enemy is any perception that prevents us from seeing this. Now, you might be thinking, well, you don't know what I'm going through. And I invite you to keep an open heart and an open mind about this, because what we expand our consciousness into, whatever possibility we expand our consciousness into, we are way more likely to achieve that possibility as we expand our consciousness. So last week I talked about action, not just any action, but inspired action, action taken in service to a greater life, action that comes from a higher place, action that is part of the process, which is existing in the present. Be where your feet are. Be right where your feet are. Taking one step at a time when it's time to take that step. and not getting distracted by anything else. All right, so that's the first 2 weeks. This week, we're going to look at the third of the 3 disciplines, remembering that they're interconnected and interdependent. And it's the idea of will. In New Thought circles, the idea of will, of using our will, sometimes gets a bad rap. And I know that in 12-step circles, using our will gets a bad rap as well. But today, we'll look at the right use of will. So let me give you a couple of perspectives on will. First, from our Unity co-founder, Charles Fillmore. Will is the decision-making, directing, choosing faculty of the mind. It is our capacity to say yes or no to opportunities and options. The highest expression, he says, of the will is willingness, conscious consent to the will of God. Now, a word about God for a moment. Periodically, I let everybody know that when I say the word God, I'm not talking about a being in the sky, regardless of what I said during the meditation. There is no being in the sky. There is no personification of a person sitting in the clouds waiting for us to screw up or do well. That's not the will of God, the God I'm talking about. So God, the word God is shorthand for the divine infinite, for all that is, for oneness, for this energy that ultimately is a mystery, yes? So I call that God many times, and I call it other things as well. So that's the word about God. So New Thought teacher Ernest Holm talks about the right use of our will, and he writes this. Will is the conscious directive power of the intellect, and as such has a very important place in the creative order. But in no case is it to be used as though it could force things to happen. Any idea of using the will to influence people, and I'll add to influence anything, is a mistake. The will holds attention to the mental viewpoint until the creative power, God, has time to work through the law of unfoldment. First, reflecting on what he said, will is a very important piece of the creative puzzle and not to be shoved off. We're to pay attention to that, but also not to misuse it. And misuse comes about when we try to force our will to happen in the world. Anybody here ever try to force something to happen? Not just me, right? So if that happens, we're trying to force something to happen, and it does happen, the outcome is at best temporary, right? Because it's a misuse of our will. We shouldn't need to force anything, because there is the creative power, Holy Spirit, God, infinite divine, that is in our corner. That is in our corner when we are connected to Spirit, when we seek first the kingdom, when we seek first alignment with Spirit, that we surrender our will and things happen with ease and grace. So, the correct use of will is to keep us steady and focused on what we have decided will serve. Will serve us or be for the highest good for all concerned. And then taking the actions we have been inspired to take because we are connected with Spirit. Seek first the kingdom. Now, here's a little bit of a different take from the book. Our will is our internal power, which can never be affected by the outside world. If action is what we do when we still have some say over the situation, the will is what we depend on when options have all but disappeared. Placed in situations that seem unchangeable and undeniably negative, we can turn them into learning experiences, humbling experiences, chances to provide comfort to others. That's willpower. We often think of will as how much we want something. If we only had the will, I could not eat that Klondike bar last night. If I only had the will, I could get out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning and get my workout done first thing. Right? That's what we think about, right? I need willpower in order to get this done. Actually, he says, the will has a lot more to do with surrender than with strength. True will is quiet humility, resilience, and flexibility. The other kind of will is weakness disguised as bluster and ambition. See which lasts longer under the hardest of obstacles. That's the end of his quote. So I want to share with you a true story about the right use of will. In it, you'll see the ability to have a different perspective of the obstacle. You'll see humility, resilience, and flexibility. And you'll see inspired action. And what you won't overtly see, but what is happening through it all, is divine action of spirit. So, from the book. At age 67, Thomas Edison returned home early one evening from just another day at the laboratory. Shortly after dinner, a man came rushing into his house with urgent news. A fire had broken out at Edison's research and production campus a few miles away. Fire engines from 8 nearby towns rushed to the scene, but they could not contain the blaze. Fueled by the strange chemicals in the various buildings, green and yellow flames shot up 6 and 7 stories, threatening to destroy and ultimately destroying the work Edison had spent his entire life developing. Edison calmly but quickly made his way to the fire through the now hundreds of onlookers and devastated employees. He was looking for his adult son. When he found him, he said with childlike excitement, "Go get your mother and all her friends. They'll never see a fire like this again. Go get your mom. Come, let her see. She'll never see this again." And his son said, "What? What?" So Edison calmed his son by saying, "It's all right. We just got rid of a lot of rubbish in there." Now, there was definitely a lot more than a little rubbish in his buildings. In fact, years and years of priceless records, prototypes, and research were turned to ash. The buildings, which had been made of what was supposedly fireproofed concrete, had been insured for only a fraction of their worth. Thinking they were immune to such disasters, Edison and his investors were covered for about a third of the damage. But think about his reaction for a moment. It seems a little beyond, doesn't it? It seems almost if that possibly can't be true, that somebody would react that way. But think about this. Would any other reaction have changed the outcome? Would any other action? What could he have done? He could have wept. Plenty would have. He could have blamed someone from not turning off a Bunsen burner or extinguishing a cigarette. That would have been justified, I think we think, in our humanity. He could have gotten angry at the manufacturers of the fireproof concrete. He could have started a lawsuit. That's a common reaction. He could have just given up. He could have said, "Okay, I'm 67 and that's it. I'm done. I'm not going to try anything else. I've done remarkable things. I can be done now." But he didn't do any of that because he wasn't done doing remarkable things. According to Holliday, to do great things, we need to be able to endure setbacks, even tragedy. We've got to love what we do and all that it entails, good and bad. We have to learn to find joy in every single thing that happens. Let's take a deep breath into that. Because, I think as I read this and as I'm teaching this, I'm thinking, that's a big call. That's a big call to find joy in every single thing that happens. So, the entire experience invigorated Edison. And he told a reporter the next day that he wasn't too old to make a fresh start. He said, "I've been through a lot of things like this. It prevents a man from being afflicted with ennui," which of course is weariness, dissatisfaction, and boredom. And here's some facts that might seem astonishing. This is where we see spirit at work behind the scenes. Within about 3 weeks, the factory was partially back up and running. Within a month, its men were working 2 shifts a day, churning out new products the world had not yet seen. And despite a loss of about $1 million, which could be more than about $23 million in today's dollars, Edison made nearly $10 million in revenue that year, which equates to about $200 million today. He not only suffered a spectacular disaster, Holliday writes, but he recovered and replied to it spectacularly. He used the right use of his will and gave life a chance to rebuild. He used his will to stay with an empowered perception that this wasn't a horrible tragedy, but rather a great opportunity. He used his will to be humble. It's just rubbish, he said. He used his will to be resilient. I'm not too old to start over. And he was flexible. And he was moved into inspired action. Let's get this up and running again. Let's keep going. And we're going to add a fourth and fifth one here. That's the key to it all. He used his will to accept what is. His plant burned down, and there was nothing he could do to change it. So that's the choice point, right? Can't do anything to change that, so I might as well accept it. He used his will to face it with enthusiasm and cheerfulness. Go get your mother and her friends. They'll never see another fire like this. So, your obstacles may not be your life's work burning to the ground. But your obstacles could be nevertheless significant and seemingly outside of your control. According to Holliday, they deserve only one response. Not just, I'm okay with this. Not even, I think I feel good about this. But I feel great about this. Because if it happened and it was meant to happen, and I'm glad that it did when it did, I am meant to make the best of it. So the place where I veer a little bit from Holliday here is that he doesn't seem to give any room for our emotions in the mix. It almost seems like, okay, big giant fire, lost everything, yay! Now we know in the human condition, I know, in my human condition that doesn't happen. I have a human response, a human reaction. So, I feel okay about honoring the emotions that come through us. We cannot get from this is horrible and this stinks to yay. And if you can do the lesson next week. Because I can't. I'm just not there yet. I get to feel my emotions, to feel what's happening in my mind, in my emotions, and in my body. And then remember who I am, remember what I'm made of, remember whose and who I am, and get to work in the practice of welcoming in whatever it is. Whatever it is. So, when we surrender to that, when we surrender to the presence and power of God, of Spirit, of the infinite divine in every situation in our lives, it takes on a whole new meaning in our life. Because to surrender, some other words for surrender, to yield, to give way to the flow of life rather than to oppose it, to relinquish, to let go of resistance to accepting what is, to allow ourselves to choose differently. Another meaning for surrender is resign. To resign ourselves to more of the goodness of God expressing through and as us. And another word is submit. To submit our wrong use of will, which is to force things to happen, to the right use of will, which is to keep us mentally, emotionally, and physically on track so that the creative power of life can unfold in amazing ways in our lives. Think about that for a moment, no matter what is happening in your life. To be able to surrender it to God, to feel the emotion, to not wallow in the emotion, to feel it, to talk about it with a trusted friend, counselor, or spiritual leader, and then do the work necessary to move through it. That's true surrender. Surrendering it to God, putting the wings on it, and surrendering it to Spirit. So I invite you this morning, this week, this lifetime, to remember to use your will in the right way, in the highest way, to surrender to the allness, to the all good of life, to surrender to the activity of the divine moving in your life in every single circumstances. Every single circumstance. I affirm this truth for each and every one of us. Namaste. And let's take a deep breath together. And now is the time to celebrate our abundance. Here are some ways that, hold on. There we go. Here are some ways that you can give to Unity of Stuart. And I want to tell you that how grateful the board, of course, is for your giving and your gifts and your service, because, of course, they see the finances, and you can see them too in the newsletter. And even more than keeping the doors open and paying salaries, it's about boosting this message. It's about boosting Unity principles up and out into the world. So a way that you can also give to this movement, not just to Unity of Stuart, but to this movement, is to share these lessons online. I know it sometimes might be a leap of faith, because you might say, what is she sharing? What is she going, or he wants me to go to his church? Yeah, he does. So share as much as you can and get this word out, because the more people who enter into this being of connected with Spirit and not a God outside of us, the more people that enroll in the fact that we have a choice in every moment, in our perspective and in our will and in our action, the better planet we're all going to share. So thank you for all that you give to Unity of Stuart. All right, so let us affirm our prosperity prayer together. In a universe overflowing with the allness of God, all of the needs of the Unity of Stuart and those we serve are instantly, constantly, and bountifully met from every direction, known and unknown, expected and unexpected. Our abundant good comes to us now. We are grateful. Amen. And now I invite you, if you're in the room and if you're online, to take your gift in your hand or just hold it in your consciousness what you are giving to Unity of Stuart. You might want to hold hands with the person with whom you're giving your gift, and let us affirm our love offering blessing. Together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give and receive always in love. And now let's bless our kiddos. Oh no, not blessing the kiddos.
We give thanks. We give thanks. Oh, we give thanks. We give thanks. We all give our gratitude and give thanks for the multitude of blessings given every day to help us all along the way. We give thanks for a chance to give our gifts and all the lives we live, in all the mercies from above that fill our hearts with grace and love. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks. Oh, we give thanks. Oh.
right. So I started to say we're going to bless our kiddos. So let's do that now.
We love you. We bless you. We truly, truly appreciate you. We behold the Christ in you.
I don't know if you know that we're not bringing back the young ones into the church at this point. And we have our Why Are You meeting on Wednesday nights in our classroom. So we have 3 to 4 kids of Why Are You age, and Jen's coming in on Wednesday nights, and she's going to use it in the classroom. My daughter Sophia, who just turned 18, is still eligible until school starts. When she was leaving to come to church on Wednesday night, I was just talking to her going out the door, which it seems I'm always just talking to her, she's flying out the door. She said, so I tried to stop her and say something. She said, Mom, you know what, I'm in a really bad mood, I've got to get to church. She came back, and let me tell you the difference in that young adult. When she came back, she said, Mom, I'm all better now. I said, yeah, tell me about why. She said, why are you in meditation and hanging out with, people, and she doesn't say it quite like this, but, people of like mind. Yes. So if any of you watching have kiddos that they'd like to bring on Wednesday night, the age is 14 to 18, and they're here on Wednesday night. I should really know the time, shouldn't I? I think it's like 5:30. John, do you know the time? Have I talked to you about this at all? Oh, no, it was Ron. What time did the kids come in on Wednesday night? Do you remember? Okay.
We're on the spot.
Call me.
286-3878.
Call me.
All right. I digress. Here we are with a couple more announcements. We are still welcoming welcome team members. If you are in the sanctuary or planning on coming into the sanctuary for service and would like to be part of our welcome team, we invite you to see Sylvie. Sylvie, stand up so people can see you in the back. If you'd like to be on the welcome team, greeting people as they come in the door. And once again, if you're interested or deciding to come back to church anytime soon, you can email May at admin@unityofspirit.org and let her know that you're interested in serving on the welcome team. And then we are welcoming back our choir. And yay for the choir. So if you are wanting to sing and be part of our choir, we invite you to sign up in the foyer or hall or email May if you plan on coming back. Our first rehearsal is August 10th at 6 p.m. And that's a Tuesday. We're switching rehearsals from Monday night to Tuesday. And please sign up if you're in the sanctuary at the information table. Call or email, all of those good things if you wish to raise your voice in song. And I do believe that's it. Let us affirm together the prayer for protection. Together.
The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine.
And now, sing the peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator.
Was it capo 2?
Capo 3.
Capo 3.
One, two, three, go.
I see joy, I see peace, I see goodness surrounding me. I see love in every breath I breathe. I see God in everything. I see happiness, I see freedom. I see the beauty that lives in me. I see perfection in what life brings. I see God in everything. I feel joy, I feel peace, I feel goodness surrounding me. I feel love in every breath I breathe. I feel God in everything. I feel happiness, I feel freedom. I feel the beauty that lives in me. I feel perfection in what life brings. I feel God in everything. I feel God in everything.
Right. Pretty good. All right, little snappers today.
That's all
On
right.
your song, I got my pick
You
stuck
got-
on the wall.
and then I was like,
strokes, and I went to the wrong chord.
Did it go? I thought you went in one flying. That's
Nah,
good.
Well, Jen covered me.
I did. I went like totally wrong, and that just totally covered him.
You're doing good, Jen. You're doing good. You know?
It's fun.
Real good.
Thanks. You're doing good too. You're amazing.
Down 2 people.
2 people.
Well, no,
Well,
really
one
one
really.
person because you are the other.
I'm Glenn.
You know, the thing about Sundays is, people know the song so well, I mean,